The moment Natasha Winters stepped through the revolving doors of the Grandeur Eclipse Hotel, she felt her breath catch. The lobby stretched before her like a palace from a dream, all gleaming marble and cascading crystal chandeliers that scattered rainbow light across every surface. Her navy dress felt suddenly inadequate, though she'd spent an hour choosing it that morning. This interview could change everything. At 24, she'd worked countless weddings, corporate events, and galas, but landing a position at the most prestigious hotel in the city would catapult her career into a different stratosphere entirely. She approached the reception desk, her heels clicking against the marble with more confidence than she felt. The receptionist smiled warmly and directed her to the executive floor. As the elevator climbed, Natasha practiced her talking points, reminding herself of every achievement, every success, every reason she deserved this opportunity. The doors opened to reveal a hallway lined with abstract art and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city skyline. Natasha found herself standing before massive double doors made of dark wood. She raised her hand to knock, but before her knuckles could connect, a voice from behind startled her. "Those doors are quite intimidating, aren't they?" The voice was deep, rich, with an undercurrent of amusement that made her spin around quickly. The man standing there made her forget how to breathe properly. He was tall, easily over 6 feet, with broad shoulders perfectly framed by a midnight blue suit that probably cost more than her entire wardrobe. Dark hair fell across his forehead in a way that seemed both careless and deliberate, but it was his eyes that captured her, stormy gray with flecks of silver, holding an intensity that seemed to see straight through every defense she'd carefully constructed. "Natasha Winters," she managed, extending her hand with more composure than she felt. "I'm here for the event coordinator interview." "Dominic Sterling," he replied, his hand engulfing hers in a warm, firm grip. His touch sent an unexpected jolt through her system, like touching a live wire. His eyes widened slightly, suggesting he'd felt it too, though his expression remained professionally neutral. "I'll be conducting your interview personally. Please, come in." He moved past her to open the doors, and Natasha caught the scent of his cologne, something expensive and masculine that made her want to lean closer. She followed him into an office that matched the grandeur of the lobby below. Windows wrapped around 2 walls, offering panoramic views of the city. A massive desk dominated the space, but Dominic gestured instead to a seating area with leather couches and a low table. "Your portfolio impressed me," Dominic said, settling into the chair across from her with fluid grace. "The Wellington Charity Gala last spring. That was your design work, correct?" Natasha felt warmth spread through her chest. "Yes, it was. We raised nearly $2 million that night. More than that, you created an experience," Dominic said, leaning forward slightly. His gaze was intent, focused entirely on her in a way that made her feel like the only person in the world. "Anyone can hang decorations and serve champagne. You transformed that ballroom into something magical. The ice sculptures that doubled as champagne fountains, the way you used lighting to create different moods throughout the evening. Every detail served both aesthetic and functional purposes. That's what separates good event planning from exceptional artistry." Natasha felt her cheeks flush with pleasure at his praise. "Thank you. I believe events should tell a story, create memories that last long after the night ends. That philosophy aligns perfectly with what we do here at the Grandeur Eclipse," Dominic said. His eyes held hers, and something unspoken passed between them, something electric and dangerous. "We don't just host events. We create experiences that define moments in people's lives. Weddings where couples begin their forever. Galas where fortunes change hands. Conferences where ideas transform industries. Every event matters." As the interview progressed, Natasha found herself relaxing despite the magnetic pull she felt toward him. Dominic asked thoughtful questions about her creative process, her approach to problem solving, her vision for luxury hospitality. She spoke passionately about her work, her dreams, her belief that every event was an opportunity to create something extraordinary. She noticed how his eyes softened when she talked about making people feel special, how his smile appeared when she described her most challenging projects. "Tell me something personal," Dominic said suddenly, breaking the professional rhythm they'd established. Something not in your resume. Why does this matter to you so much? Natasha paused, considering her words carefully. Because I grew up with nothing, she said honestly. My mother cleaned hotel rooms to support us after my father left. I'd wait for her after school in the service corridors, watching through doorways as guests celebrated in ballrooms I could never enter. I promised myself that someday I'd create those magical moments, that I'd be on the other side of that door, making other people's dreams come true. Maybe it sounds foolish. It doesn't sound foolish at all, Dominic said quietly, and something vulnerable flickered across his features. His voice dropped lower, more intimate. I understand more than you know. I built this hotel from nothing. Every brick, every chandelier, every success represents years of fighting to prove I belonged in a world that said I never would. He stood abruptly and walked to the windows, his back to her. Natasha found herself watching the line of his shoulders, the way tension radiated from his frame. She stood and moved closer without thinking, drawn by an invisible thread. Dominic turned when she approached, and suddenly they were standing too close, the professional distance between interviewer and candidate collapsing. His eyes searched her face, lingering on her lips before returning to her eyes. This is inappropriate, he said, his voice rough. You're here for a job interview, and I'm the one who decides whether you get that job. Every rule I built for myself says I should step back right now. Then why aren't you? Natasha whispered, her heart thundering so loudly she was certain he could hear it. Because from the moment I saw you in that hallway, every rule I've ever made stopped mattering, Dominic admitted. His hand lifted slowly, hovering near her face, but not quite touching. I told myself I'd never let anyone close again after what Cassandra did. I told myself business and pleasure must never mix. I told myself 100 things, and then you walked through my door and made me forget all of them. Who's Cassandra? Natasha asked, though part of her already knew the answer would be painful. The woman who taught me that trust is a luxury I can't afford, Dominic said bitterly. The woman who pretended to love me while systematically stealing from my company and sleeping with my business partner. The woman who laughed when I discovered the truth, who told me I was too focused on success to ever truly connect with anyone. After her, I promised myself I'd never be that vulnerable again. Natasha's heart ached for the pain she heard in his voice. I'm not her, she said softly. I don't know what we're feeling right now, but I know it's real. I know. I've never felt this kind of connection with anyone. Dominic's control visibly cracked. His hand finally made contact, cupping her cheek with such gentleness it made her want to cry. You're dangerous, Natasha Winters. Dangerous to every wall I've built, every protection I've put in place. If I kiss you right now, everything changes. Then change everything, she breathed. Dominic's lips met hers with a hunger that stole her breath away. The kiss was nothing like Natasha had imagined during those charged moments of anticipation. It was deeper, more consuming, a revelation of everything they'd been holding back since their eyes first met. His hands framed her face with reverence, thumb stroking her cheekbones as his mouth moved against hers with practiced skill and raw need. Natasha's fingers clutched his jacket, pulling him closer, desperate to eliminate any distance between them. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Dominic rested his forehead against hers. That was a mistake, he said, though his arms remained wrapped around her waist. The biggest professional mistake I've ever made. Then why does it feel so right? Natasha whispered, her fingers tracing the lapels of his expensive suit. Because some things transcend logic, he replied, pulling back just enough to look into her eyes. But we need to talk about what this means. You still need a job, and I still have a hotel to run. I can't show you favoritism, and I won't let anyone suggest you earned your position any way other than through your considerable talent. Natasha nodded, understanding the complexity of their situation. So what do? We keep things professional during work hours, Dominic said, his thumb tracing her lower lip in a gesture that contradicted his words. We don't give anyone reason to question your abilities or my judgment. But after hours, he paused, his eyes darkening with desire. After hours, I want to explore whatever this is between us. I want to know everything about you. I want to see where this connection leads. I want that too, Natasha admitted, her heart soaring despite the complications ahead. 3 days later, Natasha found herself working late on a Friday evening, finalizing details for a massive corporate retreat scheduled for the following week. The hotel was quieter at this hour, most of the administrative staff having gone home. She was deep in spreadsheets when chaos erupted. Her phone rang, then rang again, then multiple emails flooded her inbox simultaneously. The retreat was falling apart. The keynote speaker had canceled due to a family emergency. The catering company had a kitchen fire and couldn't fulfill the order. The entertainment booked for the gala dinner had double booked and chosen a higher paying gig. Natasha felt panic rising but forced herself to breathe and think systematically. She was making calls, pulling favors, reaching out to every contact in her network when Dominic appeared in her doorway. He'd loosened his tie and rolled up his sleeves, looking both exhausted and impossibly attractive. I heard about the Henderson retreat disaster, he said without preamble. What do you need? Natasha looked up, gratitude flooding through her. A miracle would be nice. How about a partner instead? Dominic said, moving into the room and pulling up a chair beside her. Walk me through what's happened and what needs fixing. For the next 5 hours, they worked in perfect synchronization. Dominic used his connections to secure a replacement keynote speaker, a best-selling author who owed him a favor. Natasha redesigned the entire catering plan around the hotel's own kitchen capabilities, creating a farm-to-table concept that was actually more impressive than the original plan. Together, they brainstormed entertainment options, ultimately deciding on a renowned jazz quartet that Dominic knew personally. They rewrote schedules, adjusted budgets, and solved problem after problem with a combination of creativity and determination. Around midnight, surrounded by empty coffee cups and scattered papers, Natasha leaned back and laughed with exhausted relief. We actually did it. The retreat might be even better than the original plan. You did it, Dominic corrected, his eyes warm with admiration. I just helped. Your creativity, your ability to pivot under pressure, your network of contacts, all of that was you. You're extraordinary, Natasha. You see that, don't you? Natasha felt heat rise in her cheeks. I couldn't have done it without you. Maybe not, but you would have found a way, Dominic said. He reached over and took her hand, his fingers intertwining with hers. That's what makes you special. You don't give up. You find solutions where others see only problems. The touch of his hand sent familiar electricity coursing through her. The professional distance they'd maintained for 3 days crumbled in the intimate quiet of the late-night office. Dominic, she said softly, her eyes searching his face. I know we agreed to keep things professional during work hours, but it's after midnight now. Does that count as after hours? A slow smile spread across his handsome features. I think we can make that interpretation. He stood, pulling her to her feet and into his arms. I've been wanting to do this all week, he murmured against her hair. Wanting to hold you, kiss you, to tell you how incredible you are. Natasha tilted her face up, and he kissed her with the same intensity as their first kiss, but deeper now, more familiar yet no less thrilling. His hands moved down her back, pulling her closer until no space remained between them. She could feel his heart pounding against her chest, matching the rapid rhythm of her own. When his lips moved to her neck, she gasped, her fingers threading through his dark hair. Dominic, we're still in the office, she managed breathlessly. Then let's leave, he said, his voice rough with desire. Come home with me, Natasha. Let me show you how much I've missed you these past 3 days. Let me make you forget every rule and boundary we've tried to maintain. She should have said no. Should have insisted on maintaining their professional separation. Instead, she found herself nodding, her body overruling her logical mind. Yes, she whispered. Take me home. The drive to Dominic's penthouse was charged with anticipation. His hand remained on her thigh, a possessive touch that sent shivers through her. The elevator ride up felt endless, tension building with each passing floor. When they finally entered his home, Natasha had only a brief impression of modern luxury before Dominic pulled her into his arms again. They made love that night with a passion that surprised them both. Dominic was tender yet demanding, taking his time to learn every curve of her body, every sound she made, every touch that made her gasp. Natasha gave herself to him completely, trusting him with her vulnerability, her pleasure, her emerging feelings. Afterward, wrapped in his arms with her head on his chest, she felt a contentment she'd never known before. "Talk to me," Dominic said softly, his fingers tracing lazy patterns on her shoulder. "Tell me what you're thinking." Natasha was quiet for a moment, gathering courage. "I'm thinking this is more than physical attraction for me. I'm thinking I'm falling for you. And it terrifies me because we barely know each other, and the situation is so complicated, and I don't want to get hurt." Dominic's arms tightened around her. He tilted her face up so she could see the sincerity in his gray eyes. "I'm falling for you too," he admitted. "I've been falling since that first moment in the hallway. It terrifies me as well, because I swore I never let anyone this close again. But with you, I can't help myself. You make me want to be vulnerable, to take risks, to believe in something beyond success and safety." "What do we do about it?" Natasha asked, her heart full of hope and fear in equal measure. "We're honest with each other," Dominic said. "We take this one day at a time. We keep our professional relationship separate from our personal one as much as possible. And we fight for this, for us, no matter what challenges come. Because what I feel for you, Natasha, it's worth fighting for." She kissed him then, pouring all her emotions into that kiss, sealing their unspoken promise to each other. The following weeks passed in a blur of professional success and private passion. At the hotel, Natasha proved herself repeatedly, her talent undeniable. The Henderson retreat was a triumph, leading to 3 more bookings from impressed attendees. Her creativity and work ethic earned respect from colleagues who might have been skeptical. Dominic maintained careful professional distance at work, never showing her favoritism, never giving anyone reason to question her accomplishments. But away from the hotel, they couldn't get enough of each other. Dominic took her to hidden restaurants where they could be themselves without scrutiny. They spent weekends at his lake house, talking for hours about their dreams and fears. He played piano for her, sharing the music he'd composed during his loneliest years. She cooked for him, simple meals that reminded him of the home he'd never really had growing up. "You're changing me," Dominic said one Sunday morning as they watched the sunrise over the lake. "I was so closed off before you, so focused on building and achieving and protecting myself that I forgot how to actually live. You remind me that success means nothing without someone to share it with." "You're changing me too," Natasha replied, snuggled against his side. "You make me believe I deserve happiness, that I belong in this world I've worked so hard to enter. You see me, really see me, not just what I can do or accomplish, but who I am underneath everything." Their happiness felt almost too perfect, too fragile. Natasha sometimes woke in the middle of the night, afraid to believe something this good could last. But Dominic was always there, solid and real, pulling her close and whispering reassurances until she fell back asleep. They were building something precious together, brick by careful brick, neither of them realizing that a storm was gathering on the horizon. The first sign of trouble came in the form of whispers. Natasha noticed other staff members falling silent when she entered rooms, exchanging meaningful glances she couldn't quite interpret. Someone left an anonymous note on her desk suggesting she'd slept her way into her position. At first, she tried to ignore it, focusing on her work and the undeniable results she was producing. But the whispers grew loud, morphing into barely concealed hostility from some quarters. The breakthrough came when Jennifer, a colleague she'd thought friendly, confronted her in the break room. "Everyone knows you're sleeping with Dominic Sterling," Jennifer said bluntly, her voice cold. "We all see how he looks at you when he thinks no one's watching. Some of us have worked here for years, earning our positions through actual merit, and then you waltz in and spread your legs for the boss. It's disgusting." Natasha felt like she'd been slapped. The unfairness of it stung more than the crude words. "My relationship with Dominic started after I was hired," she said, keeping her voice steady with effort. "Every achievement I've earned has been through my work, through long hours and creative solutions, and delivering results. If you have a problem with my performance, take it up with management." Your performance, Jennifer sneered. You mean the projects Dominic keeps assigning you, the high-profile clients he steers your way, the praise he heaps on you in meetings. Wake up, Natasha. You're his latest toy, and when he gets bored, you'll be gone like all the others. What others? Natasha demanded, ice forming in her stomach. There haven't been others. Jennifer's laugh was bitter. Ask him about Cassandra Monroe. Ask him about the 5-year relationship that ended when she figured out he was incapable of real emotion, that he only cares about his hotels and his reputation. You're just the newest model, younger and more naive than the last. When she tells you she's changed, that you're different, remember, that's what he told Cassandra too. Before Jennifer could say more, a new voice cut through the tension. That's enough, a stunning woman said from the doorway. She was perhaps 40, elegantly dressed, with ice blonde hair and sharp features. Her presence commanded immediate attention. I'm Cassandra Monroe, and I'd appreciate you not spreading lies about my past relationship. Natasha's blood ran cold. This was Cassandra, the woman who'd broken Dominic's trust, the specter that had haunted their early conversations. What are you doing here? Natasha asked, her voice stronger than she felt. Cassandra's smile held no warmth. I came to speak with Dominic about a business matter. The Sterling Hotel Group is considering expansion into markets where my company has expertise. But I couldn't help overhearing this conversation, and I feel compelled to set the record straight. She moved closer, her eyes assessing Natasha with calculating precision. Dominic and I had a complicated relationship. I made mistakes, terrible ones that I've regretted for years. But the man I knew was consumed by ambition, driven by past poverty to accumulate wealth and success at the expense of genuine human connection. If he's told you otherwise, if he's made you believe you're somehow special or different, you're being played. You don't know what you're talking about, Natasha said fiercely. Dominic isn't like that. He's kind and vulnerable and capable of deep emotion. Whatever happened between you two, it doesn't define who he is now. Cassandra's expression softened into something that looked almost like pity. I thought the same thing once. I believed I could be the one to reach the man beneath the armor. But eventually, you'll realize that Dominic Sterling loves his hotels more than he could ever love any woman. He'll choose his reputation, his business, his carefully constructed world over you every single time. When that happens, when you're standing alone wondering how you were foolish enough to believe in fairy tales. Remember I warned you. Before Natasha could respond, Dominic's voice cut through the room like a whip. Get out. He stood in the doorway, fury radiating from every line of his body. Cassandra, you have no business being in this building, and you certainly have no right to spread poison about my relationship. Security will escort you out immediately. Cassandra didn't look surprised or chastened. She simply smiled that cold smile and said, I came for our scheduled meeting, Dominic. Your assistant confirmed it this morning. Check your calendar. Dominic's jaw clenched as he pulled out his phone, and Natasha watched anger morph into something darker when he confirmed the appointment existed. You scheduled a meeting under false pretenses, he said flatly. There is no business opportunity. You came here to cause trouble. I came here to protect an innocent young woman from making the same mistakes I did, Cassandra countered. But I see I'm too late. She's already fallen for your act, already believes she's different and special. How long do you think it will last, Dominic, before the novelty wears off and you retreat back into your comfortable isolation? 2 months, 3, a year at most, before you push her away like you pushed me away. Enough, Dominic roared, his control shattering completely. You want to know why I pushed you away, Cassandra? Because I found you stealing company funds to support your gambling addiction. Because I discovered you sleeping with my business partner while planning our wedding. Because every word out of your mouth was a lie designed to manipulate and control me. Don't you dare pretend you were some innocent victim. You were a predator, and I was too blind to see it until almost too late. The room fell silent. Cassandra's mask slipped, revealing genuine shock beneath. You never told anyone the real reason we ended. Why? Because despite everything, I didn't want to destroy your reputation, Dominic said warily. I let people think we simply grew apart, protected your secrets even after you betrayed me. But I won't let you hurt Natasha with your lies. She knows the truth about our past, and she chose to be with me anyway. That's the difference between you and her. Natasha loves me for who I am, not what I can give her." Cassandra recovered quickly, her expression hardening. "If she really knows you, she knows you'll choose your precious hotels over her when it comes down to it. You can't help yourself, Dominic. It's who you are." "Then watch me prove you wrong," Dominic said. He turned to Natasha, his eyes softening despite the tension crackling through the air. "Come with me, please." Natasha didn't hesitate. She walked to his side, and he took her hand in front of everyone, the gesture both possessive and protective. Together, they left the break room, leaving Cassandra and Jennifer staring after them in shock. In his office, Dominic pulled Natasha into his arms, holding her tightly. "I'm so sorry. I never imagined she'd come here, that she'd try to poison what we have. Are you okay?" Natasha clung to him, her emotions finally breaking through her controlled exterior. "Is it true? About the gambling and the stealing? Everything she said about your relationship?" "Every word," Dominic confirmed grimly. "I paid off her debts to keep her out of jail, gave her money to start over somewhere else, and asked only that she leave my life completely. I never thought she'd violate that agreement." "Why didn't you tell me the whole truth before?" Natasha asked, pulling back to look at his face. "Because I was ashamed," Dominic admitted, his voice raw with emotion. "Ashamed that I was so blind, that I let someone use me so completely, that my judgment was so flawed. I told you she betrayed me, but I couldn't bring myself to admit the full extent of how thoroughly she played me. I was afraid you'd see me as weak or foolish. I could never see you that way," Natasha said fiercely. "You protected someone who hurt you, because that's who you are. That's the man I fell in love with. The one who chooses kindness, even when people don't deserve it." Dominic's eyes widened. "You love me?" It wasn't a question, but she answered anyway. "Yes, I love you. I've loved you for weeks now, maybe from that very first kiss. I love your strength and your vulnerability. I love how you push me to be better while accepting me exactly as I am. I love you, Dominic Sterling, and nothing Cassandra or anyone else says will change that." Dominic kissed her with a desperation that stole her breath. When they broke apart, he was trembling. "I love you too," he said hoarsely. "I love you so much it terrifies me. I love you enough to risk everything, to choose you over my carefully controlled life, to believe in us even when the world says it's impossible." "Then prove Cassandra wrong," Natasha said. "Don't hide me anymore. Don't protect me from gossip or judgment. Stand with me publicly, and let the world see what we have." Dominic searched her eyes. "Your career, your reputation, if we go public, there will be people who assume the worst, who diminish your accomplishments, who make your life difficult." "I know," Natasha said steadily, "but hiding feels like we're ashamed, like we're admitting there's something wrong with loving each other. I'd rather face the world together than hide in shadows alone." "You're right," Dominic said, decision crystallizing in his expression. "You're absolutely right." He pulled out his phone and made a call. "Gather all department heads for an emergency meeting in 1 hour. Yes, everyone. It's important." The meeting was tense from the start. Staff members filed into the large conference room, whispering speculation about the sudden summons. When everyone had gathered, Dominic stood at the head of the table, his hand firmly holding Natasha's. "I've called you here to address rumors and speculation that have been circulating," he began, his voice carrying authority. "Natasha Winters and I are in a relationship. We have been for several weeks. This is not new information to some of you, but I'm making it official now because I won't tolerate whispers and innuendo." A murmur ran through the room. Dominic waited for silence before continuing. "Natasha was hired based purely on her exceptional qualifications. Her work since joining us has been outstanding, exceeding expectations in every measurable way. Our personal relationship began after her employment and has no bearing on her professional accomplishments. Anyone who suggests otherwise is not only wrong, but engaging in the kind of toxic workplace behavior that will not be tolerated." He paused, his gray eyes scanning the room with unmistakable warning. "Additionally, I want to address the fact that my ex-partner, Cassandra Monroe, gained unauthorized access to this building today and harassed Miss Winters. Security protocols have been updated, and she is banned from these premises. If anyone here helped facilitate her access or participated in spreading malicious gossip, you have until end of business today to come forward. Otherwise, HR will be conducting an investigation, and consequences will be severe. Jennifer went pale but said nothing. Dominic's expression softened slightly as he looked down at Natasha. This woman beside me is extraordinary, not because I say so, but because her work speaks for itself. She deserves respect and professionalism from every member of this team. Our relationship is our business, but I'm making it public because I refuse to hide something beautiful out of fear of judgment. If any of you have concerns about favoritism or proper protocols, my door is always open for legitimate discussions. But gossip, harassment, and toxic behavior end today. Are there any questions? The room remained silent. After a long moment, an older woman from accounting raised her hand hesitantly. I just want to say that I've worked with Natasha on several events, and she's incredibly talented and hardworking. I'm happy for both of you. Several other voices murmured agreement, breaking the tension. Dominic nodded, relief evident in his features. Thank you, Margaret. That means more than you know. Meeting adjourned. As people filed out, several colleagues approached Natasha with genuine congratulations and apologies for any coldness they'd shown. Jennifer slipped out without making eye contact, but Natasha felt the shift in atmosphere. By making their relationship public and standing together, they'd neutralized much of the gossip's power. That evening, Dominic took Natasha to dinner at an exclusive restaurant, this time making no effort to secure a private table. They sat in full view of other diners, holding hands across the table, completely open about their relationship. I have something for you, Dominic said as dessert arrived. He pulled out a small velvet box, and Natasha's heart stopped. This isn't what you think, he said quickly, seeing her expression. Not yet, anyway, but I want you to have this. Inside was a delicate platinum necklace with a single diamond pendant shaped like a key. It's beautiful, Natasha whispered, tears gathering in her eyes. The key to my heart, Dominic said softly. The key to my penthouse. The key to everything I am and everything I hope we'll build together. I know it's fast, and I know we have challenges ahead, but I want you in my life, completely. Move in with me, Natasha. Let's stop pretending we can sleep apart when every night without you feels empty. Natasha's tears spilled over. Yes, she said, through her happy sobs. Yes, to all of it. Yes to building a life together. Yes to facing challenges as a team. Yes to believing in us, even when it's scary. Dominic stood and moved around the table to fasten the necklace around her throat, then kissed her deeply, not caring about the other diners or the whispers, or anything beyond the woman in his arms. When they broke apart, both were smiling through tears. 6 months later, they stood together at a charity gala in the very ballroom where Natasha had once dreamed of belonging. But she wasn't a child watching through doorways anymore. She was Dominic Sterling's partner in every sense, helping him run his hotel empire while building her own reputation as one of the industry's brightest talents. They'd faced down gossip and judgment together. They'd proven that their love was real, and their partnership unshakable. As they danced, Dominic whispered in her ear, I used to think success meant building an empire alone, proving I didn't need anyone. You taught me that real success is finding someone who sees your heart, not your accomplishments, someone worth building an empire with, not just for. Natasha smiled up at him, her heart overflowing with love. And you taught me that belonging isn't about which side of the door you're on. It's about finding someone who makes anywhere feel like home. They kissed as the music swelled around them. Two souls who'd found each other against all odds, who'd chosen love over fear, vulnerability over safety, together over alone. The dangerous attraction that began in a hotel lobby had transformed into something neither had dared hope for, a love that conquered all, a partnership that would last forever, a home found in each other's hearts. Their story was just beginning, filled with endless possibilities and the promise of tomorrow.